Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. New polling numbers just came out, and they show that not only is Donald Trump registering the lowest approval ratings on inflation of his presidency, Trump's numbers are the lowest of any presidency in the history of polling. And voters say inflation is their number one issue. Here's more from CNN's Harry Enton.
It's the number one financial issue. It's the number one issue folks saying it's facing their families right now. And Donald John Trump is in the worst position he has ever been on inflation. And more than that, these are the worst numbers I've ever seen for any president. I mean, just look at this. Look at this. According to Ipsos, look at this net approval rating on inflation. We got the latest poll out. He's 49 points underwater. That means that 49% more of the public disapprove than approve of the job he's doing. I went back. You remember Joe Biden? Inflation absolutely crushed his presidency. But at his worst, according to Ipsos, he was just 43 points underwater. So Trump is lower now on inflation than Joe Biden ever was, according to Ipsos. And I will note that the inflation rate right now is only about a third as it was back in June of 2022. Yet Trump's numbers are significantly worse than Biden's ever were.
And the irony is that the inflation rate in June of 2022 was higher than the inflation rate now. But 3 out of 4 Americans, according to the polling, not only disapprove of Trump's handling of inflation, roughly that same percentage don't see things getting better anytime soon. And that is also different from the Biden presidency. By historical standards, one of the worst presidencies of the modern era in terms of the economy was Jimmy Carter's administration. Inflation ran wild, there were long gas lines, and a general sense of gloom across the United States. But even Jimmy Carter's numbers at his worst were better than Donald Trump's numbers now.
We're talking about minus 46 points versus minus 49 points. Donald Trump is in worse position on inflation than Jimmy Carter was, when, of course, Carter then got blown out by Ronald Reagan back in 1980.
So where do Americans think this is headed in terms of the cost of living?
Yeah, okay, so you see these bad numbers, and take a look here. Look at this. On cost of living, country is on the wrong track or right track. Look at this. Among independents, 75%. 75% say the wrong track, just 9% say the right track. Look among Republicans. The plurality of Republicans say that the country is on the wrong track when it comes to the cost of living versus just 39%, 45 versus 39. Donald Trump has lost every single part of this electorate. And when you take his name out of the equation, you see even the plurality of Republicans say that the country is on the wrong track when it comes to
I don't know which one of these.
So what does it all mean for the midterm elections? Well, keep in mind that most elections are usually decided by independent voters. Americans who don't affiliate with either the two major political parties comprise about 40% of the electorate. Some independents are known as double haters. They hate both political parties so much they usually don't participate in elections. They stay home. But the polling now shows an unusually high percentage of double haters are planning to vote in the midterm elections because they are so angry with Donald Trump and his Republican Party. And if a higher than usual percentage of independent voters participate in November, watch out. Republicans currently control both the House and the Senate. But in the midst of the Iran war, the warnings to the GOP are now coming from Fox News senior political analyst Britt Hume.
I think if the election were held today, given how in the middle of this conflict, that the House would be obviously gone, and there's a good chance that the Senate would go too. But the war outcome, I think, will produce a reset, for better or for worse, for each party. If it turns out well, I think the president would have a lot to run on, and the party would swing behind that because they've been behind this war. If it turns out in a way that is unconvincing to people that it was worth it, woe be unto the Republicans.
In the meantime, some changes appear to be coming in economic policy simply because of a change at the Federal Reserve. Chairman Jerome Powell, who Donald Trump has frequently criticized for not lowering interest rates, is set to step down in weeks. Trump's nominee to replace Powell, Kevin Warsh, appears headed towards Senate confirmation. And while Warsh pledges to be independent, Trump administration officials expect the new Fed chair will be far more aggressive in lowering interest rates, despite the risk of triggering more inflation. In the Senate Banking Committee, all Republicans voted to confirm Warsh's nomination. All Democrats were opposed.
13-11, a party line vote here. But this is what's going to now happen is that he's going to have to go to the full Senate floor. We expect that to pass. But of course, because it's the Senate, it is going to take some time. We might see some early action tomorrow, but the key votes that we're looking for will not be actually taking place until the week of May 11th. Senate is just off next week. However, I have been told by multiple people in leadership that they fully expect Warsh to be confirmed for Fed chair by May 15th, which is, of course, Powell's final day as chair. Asked a couple senators here before the hearing if Powell should stay on. All of them declined, saying that it was up to Powell to make that decision.
But Powell is determined to leave May the 15th. Warsh, with a Republican majority in the U.S. Senate, appears to have the votes to replace him. Once Warsh becomes Fed chair, he can't simply lower rates himself on day one. He has to wait for the next Federal Open Markets Committee meeting scheduled for mid-June and then get a majority of the 12 members of the committee to change interest rates. Warsh would have one vote. Still, economic analysts expect that the Federal Reserve under Warsh will be far more aggressive in trying to juice an economy slowing down because of higher prices and affordability issues. But again, lowering interest rates amidst inflation carries enormous economic risk. In other words, Donald Trump's Fed chair could make the affordability crisis far worse. Still, with Donald Trump generating historically awful poll numbers in the economy and Republicans facing a midterm wipeout, there is some expectation that Donald Trump and his people are fine with throwing the economic policy equivalent of a football Hail Mary or 2 or 3. As it stands, a political blowout is coming, and even Republicans know that Donald Trump and the GOP are running out of time. Did you know that the big wireless carriers like Verizon and AT&T made over $18 billion in profit last year? How? By overcharging you for unlimited data, most of which you probably aren't even using. But what if you could get paid to use your phone less and only pay for the data you do use? Well, with Noble Mobile, you can. For just $50 a month on their No Bull plan, you get unlimited data, and whatever data you don't use, you get cash back right in your pocket. People who switch to Noble can save an average of $500 to $1,000 a year. It's a no-brainer. And by switching to Noble, you're directly supporting TYT and our mission of bringing you honest, independent news. So give Noble a try and make the switch today. Scan the QR code on the screen now or visit go.tyt.com/plan. That's go.tyt.com/plan. By the way, one part of the U.S. economy, tourism, is taking a huge hit thanks to Donald Trump, and a boost from hosting the World Cup hasn't materialized. And the news is getting worse.
When it comes World Cup time, and we're going to have to force ourselves upon them, which we have the right to do because we don't want to have any crime, we don't want to have any problems for the Olympics and the World Cup.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us. Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. Thanks for watching. If you found this reporting and commentary valuable, do us a favor and tap the like button. For more content like this, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you'll be notified on your YouTube homepage when we drop a new video. If you are tired of corporate spin and want honest, people-focused news, click the join button below and be part of the fight for a better future. We wouldn't be here without your support. Stay informed, stay engaged, and thanks again for joining us.